Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Good day, viewers at home, and you're welcome on board Pertinent Questions on Western Spring Television. My name is Femi Adefila. The 1999 Constitution, as amended, has given the Nigerian media the power to play a watchdog role in our society, to benchmark government and practitioners of government against promises and to defend the right of an average Nigerian. The media has a role to chaperone over the affairs of the nation by reporting events accurately. In a few days' time, Nigeria will be going into a major election. We are at it again, where Nigerians will decide who governs the affairs of this nation in the next 4 years. And the question is, what is the role of the media? What should media do? And of course, how do we assess the role of the media so far in this electioneering process? I have in the house a seasoned journalist who is now an education entrepreneur, Otumba Abiola. Look, you welcome on the program.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adefila. I'm happy to be here.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Though you are now in business, you left journalism, you went into politics, now you are a major education entrepreneur. But let's go back to the basics, your first love, which is journalism. Now, the Constitution has vested the Nigerian media with a huge responsibility to play a watchdog role and is an indispensable role in a democratic process. From your vantage position as a practitioner and as a politician, how will you assess the role of Nigerian media in a democratic process?
Thank you very much. I think the media, the Nigerian media, is quite alive to this responsibility. There might be a few deleterious issues here and there, but over time, even before this particular dispensation, especially during, from the First Republic, all through to the military regime, the Second Republic, Third Republic, and the one we are in, the media has always, to the best of its ability, to even beyond the allowance given by the government, played this role. And the involvement of politicians in media ownership also tells you of how relevant they see the media in reaching out to the people. During the First Republic, like I said, you had the media houses, particularly newspapers, owned by politicians. I don't want to go into the details now, but maybe later as we go on. They found the media a veritable avenue to reach their constituencies, their supporters, put out their viewpoints. And it has continued up to the present moment that if you are serious about going into politics, you need your own media voice, newspapers, and as it is turning out now, television houses, radio stations, and the new phenomenon, which is this online platforms,
social media,
up to the new creations that we hear every day, data boys, who have their own private broadcasting
platforms
on their phones.
That's right.
On their phones. So politicians and governments have always found a core need.
Okay, before we go into the advent of social media and what they are doing to the system of journalism in Nigeria, recently there were brickbats and a change of altercations between those who manage the image of Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu and some media houses. they allege that some media houses were outrightly biased and they have aligned forces against some political parties. Have you seen that in content analyzing
yes,
broadcast content?
In a political, electoral season, it cannot but be like that, because they say all is fair in love and war. And if media houses or media ventures are set up, because if I say media houses now, it may be a bit restrictive. And you know, from my introduction, I actually want to bring in this so-called data boys. If media, they are also ventures. If media ventures are set up as mouthpieces of politicians, you cannot but have such a kind of situation. Though, in the instance that you just described, they went beyond issues. They went beyond issues into personal attacks, unverifiable.
Does that mean the media is on trial? The Nigerian media is on trial? Or media practitioners are on trial for their biases?
In a way, but quite frankly, trial by who? The people who object also have their own masters. And the public really, they are not as dumb as we practitioners think. They know, once they keep reading or hearing, they know that, for instance, your enterprise here is dispassionate. It's non-partisan. Because you call all views, and they know that it's not like you. So, and the ones that are partisan, they know them. They know the kind of station or newspaper that we come and interview them, and they know the kind of output, let me put it that way, that would issue forth from which part. So they're not dumb.
Okay, now let's go into.
I don't know whether you want us to be mentioning names of.
No, we may not have to go into
newspapers
that.
And
Yes, you see, most often than not, people accuse Nigerian media of not being diligent enough in unraveling the personalities, the antecedent of candidates that are jostling to be president, to be governors, to be senators, to be House of Rep members. Because somebody said, the presidency does not change who you are, it reveals who you are. Michelle Obama said that. That if the Nigerian media is diligent and they do due diligence in digging into the past and the immediate of candidates that are jostling to be president and governors, we will filter our leadership recruitment process and allow those who have what it takes, the competence, the history, the ability to govern us. Do you think the Nigerian media has failed in that side?
You know, I've proceeded from ownership.
Yes.
You may not be able to get this kind of dispassionate analysis or presentation, whether news reporting, whether opinion, if you are stuck to a particular news outlet. But if you have a melange of them, like I said, the public are not that dumb, analysts are not that dumb. Regional issues, personality issues, we know those who will present which candidate or which region in favorable light. So all you have to do is make sure that you don't restrict your consumption to a particular media house, as it were. Because the reason why there might not be that kind of depth or dispassionate analysis or reportage that you are mentioning goes back to the issue of ownership. Goes back to the issue of ownership. And in Nigeria, not only in Nigeria, even outside Nigeria, ownership plays a very, it's not all media houses that are like Western Spring or Rave, that the views, the political views, if any, of the ownership is not known. If you go...
So you are saying that largely ownership influence plays important roles in tailoring the orientation of each media house's content-wise.
And it's global. If you watch Fox TV, Fox News, you know that everything is all out Republican, and sometimes not just Republican Trump.
That's right.
if you
far right,
yes, far right of U.S. politics, if you tune to CNN, it's very liberal democratic.
that's right.
So it is not just in Nigeria. If you
but despite that, Otumba Abiola Loke, you still see a deliberate attempt by Fox newspapers, by Fox Television and CNN to dig deep. Recently, the issue of sensitive government materials were discovered in the home of Biden. President Biden is the sitting president in America. CNN did not shy away from reporting accurate reportage of what happened. Nigeria, do you think we can do that?
Yes, that is now where you have a little bit of a difference, because they separate the barricade news from views, from opinion. The reason why I mentioned Fox is because Fox is quite heavy on opinion. You know, you have these panels upon panels. So the news reportage on Fox International, particularly the one we see in Nigeria, it's minute compared to the party ideological apparatchiks that come on air to analyze endlessly what has happened. Now, CNN is more of a news channel, but when they go to their own opinion, panels and all that, you still see that bent.
Okay. Now, let's come back up to Nigeria. Let's discuss the leading candidate within the Nigerian political hemisphere, as it were. Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu is a man that people say there's so much secrecy and mysteries around. His birth certificate, his real name, and so many other things. But no Nigerian media has been able to dig deep into these issues. The issues, as far as I'm concerned, remain mere rumors and beer parlor gossips. Are you saying something is wrong with our ability to dig deep as Nigerian media?
There is nothing. I would not blame the media for that, because I believe, you're telling us now that there are issues with his background, with his, how did those issues come out?
But it remains largely rumors if you cannot authenticate those issues.
In our own system, how do you authenticate? If you say,
by going to the schools, by going to the places where you believe he hails from, by asking his classmates?
They've done all that. The first issue, before the electoral season opened, it was a question of, for instance, this secondary school thing, you went to GCI, you didn't go to GCI, Of course, it is clear he didn't attend GCI. How did we know that? It's because opposition, those who are opposed to him, have gone to GCI, and they found out that out. And of course, following that...
Are you sure anybody went to GCI, or because a party that was supposed to host him by a supposed classmate was put off, where nobody could defend his membership of that class? No Nigerian media has gone to GCI to say, okay, bring the register. Let's see the names of those who graduated this particular year.
How did you know, if not through reportage, that the old boys...
By the opposition, not by the media. The opposition popularized it.
Yeah, that's why I said you have to do a melange.
What should be the role of the media in all this, in the midst of this?
We cannot prosecute. The only thing we can do is to report. We have not only Asiwaju Tinubu, we have a few other cases like that, it's one media or the other. I'm not talking of even online platforms that bring it out. But if there's a limit to which the media, after reporting it, after analyzing it endlessly and writing, there's just a limit you can...
Otumba Abiola Loke, since media ownership is a challenge for you, and it's like the elephant in the room that is inviting accurate reportage by journalists, will you advocate that, as applicable to practitioners of medicine, only medical doctors can own hospitals? If you have to own it, it has to be through a medical doctor. Only pharmacists. Will you advocate that media men should be media owners?
Yeah. It's an enterprise. I believe that anybody who has money you see, you can set up media houses. I will not go so far as to say only those who are trained, because the training actually goes a long way in resolving some of these issues. When you get trained, you are professionals. Even if you want to slander or libel somebody, there are ways you will do it, and they will not be able to take any action. But they are very expensive ventures. I mean, you will confirm that it is not, easy to any media house, any responsible, whether it's a magazine, newspapers. I was in it. A lot of our seniors they almost lost their shirts after losing their investments to moneyed men. It costs a lot of money. Politicians are in position because due to converting public funds into private purses, they are in position to have deep pockets. Even when we establish, sometimes we have to go to some of them to bankroll and be in the background. So there is really no way to, if you insist, we have some that have tried to do it before. Like I said, I don't want to be mentioning names, but in the final analysis, they just didn't have the deep pocket.
I raised that against the backdrop of what Thomas Jefferson, American third president, said, that the media is perhaps more important even than government. And when they refer to the media as the fourth estate of the realm, it's because of the critical role that the media is expected to play within democratic setting. Do you want to call on NUJ and other bodies within the media space to be up and doing and up their ante in ensuring that accurate reportage is achieved?
Yes, you see, the second part of the earlier question you asked about ownership and professionalism is the fact that and at a point, I know when we were in the system, they tried it, that unless, like what they do in the UK, if you are not a member of the union, journalist union, you are not allowed to practice. But you cannot be a member of the union without practicing. So eventually they will enter, just like they used to do with their legal system, they will go into the practice as like interns to be able to get qualified. If we all realize that we have a problem, apart from the issue of training and retraining, which can come through the professional bodies, I believe that those who work in media houses must have a minimum level. I don't know what level it will be. Could be certificate
of training.
Yes, of training in journalism. And in that way, it makes them they will still be susceptible to the owners of the media houses, but they will know ways around it.
Since politicians, through their internal mechanism, produce candidates and they limit electorate choices, it is who they throw up that you can vote for. What role do you think the media can play in scrutinizing candidates that are coming out, offering themselves to lead the nation?
The media does that all the time.
Are we filtering enough?
We do filter. I believe that the media does that all the time. But there are more, you quoted Jefferson. Jefferson said, we would rather have media houses without government rather than having government without media houses. This is done all the time. Either the opposition media or even the people themselves asking questions through the media. We do that all the time. But the political process has its own ethical, in quotes. I don't want to use standards, but has its own ethical environment. There are other things they look at. You might say, oh, the candidate is not well read, and they just don't care. We know him. He gives us rice. Gives us money at festivals. And that's what they want to know. So if you like, you can shout yourself hoarse, do daily editions 365 days a year. You know, before long, the politicians will actually mark you out as a political person yourself. So the limit, there's a limit, just like I said, there's a limit to which the media, by its very nature, can go. But then journalists should not turn themselves to political animals. If you are a politician, let us know you are a politician. You can write your column.
If you're a journalist,
let us know you are, you can write your columns, but normally news and views should not mix. And that is the problem sometimes that we have with some of the ones that are funded.
October, if my memory serves me right, since 1993, debate has been an important component of our electoral process. But it is not in the Constitution. So it is optional.
It is optional.
Do you think that we should make debate a constitutional obligation?
I believe so.
For everybody that wants to be president or governor?
No, I believe so. Not only president, even if there is only one candidate for the lowest level, councillor, bring him out in a town hall all by himself and let people be the ones to ask him questions. These roads that are not good in Yankori, what do you intend to do? You understand? But it is not constitutional, it is optional, so people can opt out. And that is not the problem of the media. The media actually wants all of them to come out so that they will interview.
A robust debate.
Yes, there will be a robust debate. You will know their plans and everything. Sometimes you're talking to somebody and his primordial self, we come out, come forth. But if you can opt out of the debate, there is nowhere any reporter, no matter how favorable or on the other side, can compel him to attend the debate.
But does it surprise you that most often than not, those who opt out of debate or elect not to debate are the ones that come out victorious in general elections? Is it a function of the level of illiteracy in our society, or what are the things Nigerians vote for? Do we vote for emotion, primordial factors, or we vote for competence?
I still don't think we vote for competence in Nigeria. I don't think so. I don't think that's the first thing we look out for in a candidate. Just like you said, if you want more popularity, for instance, you attend debates. But there are some candidates who are confident that their base will, and they have already built up their bases, and they just don't see any need to go to any debate under light and be sweating and answering questions. If the issue is people from my ethnic group or town or ward will vote for me, and we have a large number because they believe that it is the turn of my ward to supply the local government chairman. So there is no, if I go to debate, maybe I'm actually going there to reduce my popularity, as it were. So we have not been electing based on competence, and that's the reason why Nigeria is the way it is. Every electoral cycle, I'm not talking about the lower ones, the higher elections, governorship, presidential, the executive offices, you still hear people saying that, that guy is not the most competent. In more cases than not, that the first people elected, they had better brains that were not elected.
Okay, thank you. Viewers, the program is Pertinent Question, and my guest is Otumba Abiola Oloke, a seasoned journalist and education entrepreneur. Don't go anywhere. Discussion continues after this time out. Thank you.
Born
Jeremiah Oyeni Obafemi on March 6, 1905. Obafemi Awolowo was a prime architect of Nigeria's independence and most consummate advocate of free education and social welfare in Africa's most populous nation. Erudite politician, thinker, and philosopher, Awo was fondly addressed by associates and political colleagues, brought his unique attributes to bear on governance in the defunct Western region. He administered as leader of government business and the premier between 1955 and 1958. Obafemi Awolowo's premiership witnessed pioneering in multi-sectoral policy initiatives and execution. The Western region under his administration paraded several enviable records. First television station in Africa, first real estate in Nigeria, first high-rise building in Nigeria, first modern sports stadium in Nigeria, first agricultural settlement in Nigeria, first modern civil service secretariat in Nigeria, and first industrial estate in Nigeria. His face is on 100 naira denomination as a mark of honor for his distinguished services to his country. Western Spring Television identifies Obafemi Awolowo as a major character in history.
Turn it up! It's the Wild Wild West, and Western Spring Television is pulling out all the stops to make sure that you don't miss out on every of the fun and happenings around you. Yup, we've got you covered because your girls got all the juiciest tidbits and entertainment news from around the world. Cross over to the chocolatey side of entertainment. Join me, Chocolate Cassie, on Eccentric as we take you into every bit of the juiciest news, fashion, music, movie updates, and other trending conversations. Together on the show, we'll get personal with your favorite celebrities via phone call, Zoom, or even live here in the studio. Eccentric will be showing on your TV screen on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
Welcome back to Pertinent Questions, and my guest remains Otumba Abiola Aloke. But don't forget to follow us on our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Western Spring Television, and you can also watch us live and subscribe to our YouTube at Western Spring Television. So you're welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Will you say, frankly, that the campaign season that we are in now is issue-based or personality-based? We have had a lot of mudslinging, a lot of attack of personalities. Do you think we have concentrated on issues that are germane to our national development as a people?
This particular campaign season has not been issue-based. It's been more of mudslinging, personality types and all that. And it's really because Nigerian politics, particularly in the main dominant parties, is ideology-free. The two parties, as far as I see them, are just two sides of the same coin. In fact, of the same bad coin.
Wow.
So the only thing they can do, is just to go into
name calling.
Yes, ad hominem campaigns, name calling, and my fear. Of recent, I've started saying it. I just pray, because these are not issue-based campaigns. If they ask you, what is the one candidate going to do about this? They released manifestos, not like they didn't release manifestos, but the public, the media, and politicians themselves are not engaging themselves on the basis of those issues and stuff in their manifestos, which to a very large extent are very similar.
So how do you think the Nigerian media can help an average electorate to break the issues down before he makes a decision? So he doesn't vote along ethnic line, primordial factors line, or selfish lines, or be misled or eroded into a concept that will not assist his life in the next 4 years.
I think they can take their campaign documents, their manifestos, and try to analyze. But like I said, they are very similar. I have done it. A number of my friends have done it.
Perhaps because the issues are similar.
The issues are similar, the responses are similar to the extent that they are boring. And if you put up boring topics, you know, on your front page and all that.
But are the issues within the horizon all the same? Issues of corruption, issues of insecurity, we have kidnapping, we have cattle rustling, we have banditry, everything. We have fuel now sells for 450 naira. There's no cash anywhere. Nigerians have been paid their salary. They can't go to the bank and access it. So, and issues not similar? So don't you expect that they are, okay, you want the approaches to be different, or what you're talking about?
What I'm saying is there is nothing, maybe because the issues, like you said, are similar.
That's right.
So there is no outstanding response. We will stop by banditry.
How will you stop it?
How will you stop banditry? But if somebody has actually come out to say, we are going to change the naira, even without changing it, it may not have elicited the kind of interest that we have in it right now. Because you wouldn't know how to go. Somebody has said is going to privatize whatever is left of, essentially the refineries. People talk a bit about that, but that's just, and there is nobody who has come out to say, I will not sell the refineries. But they criticize the man who said he will sell the refineries. Are you going to sell it or not? The issue of restructuring, for instance. Somebody said it in muted manners. We will restructure Nigeria. No in-depth treatment of how I will restructure.
So you agree with those who say that most of them are high on promises but low on how?
On how. So you don't blame you don't blame the media for that, because we cannot invent you know, their campaign points for them.
And you cannot instigate them. You cannot probe them further.
Yeah, you can do that if there are debates and interviews, stuff like this come out. When they go to rallies, you can't interrogate them. It's whatever they say. So, and the following morning, or even that same day, the one that we have the highest clicks is the reporting that has that is the most sensational. So if somebody is, I mean, and they're not actually promising anything. Okay, you want to stop banditry? How
will you do that?
How will you do that? There are root causes for banditry. So how will you do that? And people may actually want to stop banditry, but you know that if you say how you want to do it, you may be denying yourself some fundamental votes in some parts of the country. So it has to be, you know, like this, that people are just being careful. And like I said, the two dominant parties, they are not different. It's just, in fact, the candidates are friends and business partners.
Yeah, I agree with you. In this democratic journey, Peter Obi is a phenomenon. Now we have a strong third force. Nigeria has never had it like this in recent times. Do you want to describe Peter Obi, as some said, as a media creation, social media creation, circumstances creation, or how will you describe Peter Obi?
I think it's just, Peter Obi is a son of the system. He's a prince of the system. But the circumstances under which he left PDP gained him some support. Like I said, people see those two parties, APC, PDP, as two sides of the same bad coin.
Wow.
That But for those who are really induced or concerned, people may actually not have gone out to vote for them because they just didn't see like a change in either of them. Now, the way Peter came out saying that no, I will not go through with the primaries because it is monetized. That rang a bell in some people. That, oh, so you can have, but in the final analysis, I'm not trying to put them down, but like people have been saying, well, his age is, I think it's about 63 or thereabouts.
Yeah.
So to run again, you will be classified as an older man.
That's right.
So it may be the only time, maybe that movement will bring up somebody else. But I really do not see Labour Party winning that. You know, they are really not
this election coming.
No, they are really not that major. They will not, except they do things that the other parties the major parties are doing that we are criticizing them for.
If Peter Obi is the creation of the youth and enjoys massive youth support, I was going through the data as announced by INEC. Over 26 million registered voters are students across the nation. And they are the largest demography in the data released. Don't you see that as an opportunity for him if he can ride on that?
I've been in politics. I wish him the best. I still don't see
his emergence.
Yes, Beavers may help a bit, but I still don't see it happening because of ethnic demographics. I don't see it happening. Now, it's loud where the media is, particularly in the South, and I think that basically is all. Like I said, I wish him the best, but this issue of structure is very, very important in politics.
You know. Now, in a few days' time, we'll be going to the polls to elect the president. One major worry for most Nigerians is vote buying, which is the new evil within our media space, our political space. What do you think the media can do? I know the police has a responsibility, security agencies have responsibilities, but what do you think the media can do as an institution to assist the system to beam the searchlight so that we limit the influence of money?
I believe that the Buhari administration, or some parts of it, they're already doing things to limit voter buying, voter inducement, vote buying. Yeah. If the media can lend their weight to that and not go the political way, because if the aim of the new Naira thing is to reduce the amount of money available to be used to induce voters, I really don't see why we cannot support that. And we all know who are criticizing this issue. Yes, the banks have some of the bankers cashed in on it by locking up, money, because some politicians already are opposing. But the media, we have a role to let the people know that the main important, you may not like the person who is doing something. Obafemi Awolowo said, if the devil gives me scholarship, I'll take it. You may not like who has done, who has taken those steps. But what are the steps? What are they designed to achieve? Is to reduce the amount of money already piled up for electoral purposes.
Compromises.
Yes.
Now, let's look at this issue of the deciding of the currency. Do you think it's fair, in good conscience, for the central bank to mop off 2.9 trillion naira from the circulation and print 300 billion in exchange? Don't you think that
500 billion.
500 billion in exchange?
Yes.
Don't you think that is grossly inadequate?
It is not inadequate. The aim is not just to replace the money that was in circulation. The purpose is also to grow the cashless system. So part of what we are missing, well, it would have worked smoothly, but for the bankers who have been, and we've seen videos and everything, who have been denying.
How do you grow the cashless system when we don't have the basic infrastructure to support that? I come from a village called Ora Igbumino. Internet doesn't work there. My people in Ora, we have to transact. We have some POS that is dependent on the efficiency of internet. Infrastructure issue again. Yes. Do you think CBN should have factored all these limitations into the system?
They gave the system 3 months to deposit the old money. It was not a question of infrastructural deficiencies, but resistance.
Is it about resistance?
Yes.
People voluntarily brought their cashes and their cash into the vault of banks.
Yes.
But people now say, okay, I've deposited what I have in old note. Now I want to live my life. I need money to buy a car, to buy akara, to buy pepper, to buy oranges, at Okefia. Where's my cash? And I go to the bank, I can't even access.
You're not supposed to use cash for all transactions.
Oh, the man that sells akara in Okefia does not take anything but cash. He doesn't understand the language of cash.
At the filling station, one Okada man told us that he collected 50 naira by transfer. You see, is it that we want it to work or we don't want it to work? It is possible. Now, I'm not saying there won't be areas and edges, where it will be difficult, but those can be managed if there is no resistance. A lot of the people going to queue in banks, do they really have money that much money to collect?
No matter how small they need their money, it's their money.
No, what I'm saying is, if they could do it online, particularly in the cities.
What of in the hinterland?
Okay, how have so all along in Ora Igbumino,
from Ora, let's take, this is a very serious issue. Yes. Let's take Osun Central Senatorial District as a case study. From Ora to Oshobo, there's no branch of a bank anywhere. Yes. They've been ravaged by armed robbers. So the banks fled. And the internet infrastructure is very poor. So
I agree.
Don't you think that CBN should have factored this into the planning? So you don't strip people naked of their cash without giving them an alternative system to live their lives.
What you're saying was exactly my position until I discovered that politicians actually are working to make sure that policy doesn't work. If the politicians want the policy to work, they will make sure those infrastructures are in place. But they just don't want it to work because they want to use money on February 25.
Are you surprised that the greatest critics of this system has been members of APC? The same government that implemented the program.
I'm not surprised, and nobody is surprised. Because, I don't want to sound political, we know how well APC has performed, and the only way, the best way they could hope to hang on to power is to spread money at the election.
Otumba Abiola Loke, I want to thank you so very much for coming on Pertinent Question.
Thank you very much.
It's good to see you again, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, my brother.
Viewers, my guest has been Otumba Abiola Oloke, veteran journalist, X-Tel magazine, X The News, X Concord, X Newswatch, and so many other media houses, and now an education entrepreneur. Don't forget to follow us on our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Western Spring Television, and you can also watch us live and subscribe to our YouTube at Western Spring Television. My name is Femi Adefila. This is the convenient spot to draw the curtain on today's edition of the program. I see you next week. Bye for now.